Hello, good evening, everyone. Please, if you're hearing me, use the chat box and just write in yes if you're hearing me, please. Use the chat box and write in yes if you are hearing me, please. Use the chat box, write in yes. If you're hearing me, use the chat box. Just drop in yes there, please. Okay, thank you, Techno Common, and thank you, Sunday Emmanuel. Thank you, guys. Welcome. It's wonderful having you here today. Um, I want to know if there's a question you want me to answer for you before we go deeper. I'm not going to take so much time into this podcast because I've made it a weekly thing. So if you have a question you want answers to, something you want to ask, please let me know. If you have a question you want answers, you can raise your hands up and then I can allow you ask your question. Um, yeah, you have a question, you have something you want answers to. Then if you want to send it privately, let me drop a number so you can send it privately. Okay, you can send it as a WhatsApp 0818-490-4305. You can send it as WhatsApp, you can send it as a text message and I'll see it immediately and be able to attend to it. Okay, so today we're working on emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence for successful living. Now, it might interest you to know that your emotion is responsible for everything that happens to you. Your emotion is 100% responsible for everything that happens to you. And immediately you are able to find out how to work on your emotions, you're going to find out that a lot will start happening in your life. Lucky, welcome. Lucky from Pohakat. Welcome. Thank you very much. Okay. Immediately you start understanding how to work on your emotion, a lot of things will start changing in your life. A lot will start changing in your life. Okay. And today we want to work on that. We want to look at how your emotion is sabotaging, or your emotion is helping, or your emotion is not helping. That's what we want to work on today. How can you use your emotion to become successful? And we're going to have a guest who's going to tell you a story. I do hope the network allows her to do that. Who's going to tell you a story that will completely change your life and how you understand, things. It will just completely do that. Okay. So if you have any question, I'm waiting to get them so that I'm able to incorporate them into what we want to do right now. Okay. So we still have some time for the arrival of of the guest speakers. So let's give a few more minutes. So once more, if you are hearing me, use the chat box, type in yes. If you are hearing me, use the chat box, type in yes. If you are hearing me, use the chat box and type in yes. If you are hearing me, okay? Use the chat box, type in yes. Okay. So listen, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you a story from my own life. And I'm going to show you how you can work on your emotions. And when immediately you change your emotions, everything around you will start changing. You know, before now, I had always thought everybody is against me. I always thought that, people don't like me. I would always think that, it will take me to have my legs for any reasonable or good thing to happen in my life. Um, I never knew that I was the person who is giving out what is, what I'm getting. Okay. So I didn't know that I'm the person giving out what, yeah, giving out what people are getting. I didn't know. I thought it wasn't me. It was just people don't liking me. I thought it was just people, not appreciating me. But the time came when somehow, I changed my perception of my reality. I changed how I see myself. And boom, everybody started seeing me differently. So I found out it wasn't the people, it was me. I was the person, I was the person who is giving out what people are responding to. I found out that people loved me as much, only that I was giving off the wrong information. I was giving the wrong signal. I was pushing out the wrong things. Now, when you are happy, naturally, happy things happen to you. When you are bitter, naturally, bitter things happen to you. Yes? When you are, you know, excited, everything around you becomes exciting. And it's very important that you understand that most times the reason we are who we are, the reason what happened to what happened, is not simply because we are bad. It's simply because of the kind of things we exude, the kind of things we send out there. So one of the things that I started doing was trying to smile. So every day before I go out of my house, I do what I call smiling exercise. I do what I call smiling exercise. I go out there to smile. I smile to the mirror. I smile to, you know, anybody who is around. I smile. I just smile. And you know what happens? All day long, smiling things will follow me. All day long, smiling things will follow me. And, I started becoming lucky. People will, offer to help. People do things for me that I didn't ask for. So I found out that emotion is more important because emotions drive your actions. Your emotions drive your actions. Okay. So immediately I started understanding a lot of things started working in my life. A lot of things started taking shape. A lot of things started becoming beautiful. And it was just a matter of time, you know, things were just okay. Okay. So let's go over right now and see if our guest is around, and then we move on. Just a minute. Let me just sort these things out and get them sorted. Okay. Okay. Let me check if our Mary, you are here. Can let me unmute you, Mary. Can you kindly let me unmute everybody in case you okay, a lot of people want to
Yes, sir. Can hear you.
okay, Mary, welcome, welcome. We have a
Thank you very much. Good evening, sir.
good evening. We have a lot of people here, and also we have a lot of people on our social media handles. So Mary, can you generally tell us you are now a lawyer, you are living as a visually impaired person, but it wasn't your fault. We could talk about neglect, we could talk about family that didn't do their best. We could talk about we can blame everybody. We can blame even God. We can blame the devil. Can you tell us your story? Just not the whole thing, but how did you come about blindness? Yes.
Um, you kind of drifted off there. Sorry. You said, how did I what? The last one.
How did you find yourself being visually impaired?
Oh, okay. Well, it was about 21 years ago, April this year. I had just vacated. I was in primary school, primary four precisely, but I had just written a double promotional exam. Rachel, please check that fridge. And we were on vacation, and it was during the Easter period. So, um, I mean, this happened on a Monday, Thursday. That's the Thursday before Holy Friday. And I was at home with my mother, my grandma, her sister, and her brother. But usually what would happen is they would take me along with them in the mornings when especially when my mom is going to work, because she was working on the island. My
So
school was on the island and I was on the mainland.
how old were you then?
Hello?
How old were
I
you?
was 7 years old.
7 years old. Okay.
I was 7.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So but this time around, because I was on holiday, and well, I was a handful as a child. My
Yeah.
mother was not ready to juggle between taking care of me at work and then concentrating. So she just decided to leave me behind. Even though she said she kept having the nudge in her spirit to take me with her, but
Yeah.
every time she looked at me in bed, I was still sleeping. She'd be like, no, let her rest. And then she left for work that day. And I was just sleeping in her bed when early that morning, um her sister came into her room.
Her sister,
She just
not her
was,
own sister.
yes, her biological sister,
Mm.
younger sister,
Yeah.
came into her room, and she just thrust the door open. And as a child, of course, I was petrified. Like, I just jolted out of dream, out of sleep, and in front of me was a woman, and she was looking so fearful. In fact, I'd never seen her that fearful in my life.
Mm.
I was so scared as a child.
So she
A million things were going through.
has she been diagnosed of
Sorry?
any mental issue or something?
No, that's another point, because before then we were not educated about mental illnesses and all of that. And
Yeah,
sorry?
I mean, mental health issues was not in the
Yes,
national.
yes, we were not well informed. And
Yeah,
all I knew then was anybody who had mental issues would be on the street. I
yeah,
didn't know it could be I didn't know it could be domesticated.
yeah.
So we didn't know much about it then, and fortunately I was a victim of that situation.
Mm,
Apparently she had a mental problem, and we didn't know about it. So that morning she came in when nobody was around, and my uncle had of course gone to work as well, so it was just the three of us. My grandma, who was fast asleep. To cut the long story short, she took me from my mother's room into my uncle's room eventually. It was a long process. She took me here and there and there, but eventually we landed in my uncle's room, and she was just moving in quick strides round the room, and she was so angry. Like, why are you angry? What's going on? And then she says she's looking for a knife. And of course, as a
nice.
child, seeing seeing her in such a situation,
Mm,
all you would want to do is just pacify her at the time and get yourself out of the impending danger, because it was obvious that danger was looming. I thought maybe she was going to beat me or something. I didn't just know what she would do, but I never could have thought it was going to be this bad.
mm,
So I decided to help her look for the knife. And my uncle at the time, was a very health conscious person who would not take anything other than fruits in the
mm,
night whenever he came back from work.
mm.
So for that reason, he permanently had this little fruit knife on his dressing table.
Yeah,
And that morning, this fruit knife was there. And I got to the table and I tried to tell her that, this is the fruit knife, since she was looking for a knife. But
yeah.
I got there and I opened my mouth but couldn't voice anything. And eventually, it was like that just fueled her anger. Like, why are you looking like that? She got so mad. And then she said, if she couldn't with me with her fingers. But I still didn't get what she meant. And before I knew it, she pulled me by my hair. I
Mm,
had a ponytail then. She pulled me by my hair to like the ceiling level of my uncle's room. She was on my uncle's bed. And then she pulled me that high and dropped me on the floor severally, smashed. Sorry,
on your hair.
sir?
She put you on your hair.
She pulled by my hair
Yeah.
and I landed with my head.
Mm.
Yes, sir. Uh, yes. And then she kept smashing my head against the edge of the bed severally. Remember, this is a 7-year-old child.
Seven years
And before
old.
I knew it, she picked me again. Yes. She picked me again from the floor and began to slam my head vigorously against the burglary. And then, in fact, it's a miracle I didn't have any skull crack or something,
Mm.
you know. And before I knew it, I was bloodshot. And she put me in between her legs. The position when you want to make a child's hair.
Yeah.
And then she started dipping her fingers in my eyes until both eyes gushed out,
She put
and they were
she plucked the
suspended
eye
by,
out. She plucked the eye out.
yes, yes, she plucked both eyes out.
Mm.
And they were both suspended on my, sorry, sir, I didn't get that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, so like they were both suspended on my cheeks,
Mm.
by this red light. I don't know, it must have been a nerve or something, but the eyeballs were just dangling on my cheeks.
Mm.
And when she was done with me, I kind of noticed that every time she thrust her finger deeper into the sockets, she would check my pulse to see if I'm breathing. So I don't know how God did it, but He just gave me the wisdom, and I decided to hold my breath.
Mm.
So the next time she checked my pulse or my heart, my chest, she saw that I wasn't breathing,
Okay.
and then he laid me carefully in my pool of blood and left the room.
Mm.
And I was there bleeding profusely from both sockets. I was really, really oozing. And she left the house. She had stripped, and went into the streets
Mm,
nude. And of course, people saw her and they knew she was coming from our house.
mm,
So they came in, and it was one of those compounds where everybody, minded their business.
mm,
So nobody knew what was happening. And then when they came in, they started asking, "Where is our flat? Where is our flat?" And they pointed, and then they came to our flat and
mm,
they were knocking at the door. I heard them, but because I was slowly dying, I couldn't respond. But my grandma, I don't know what happened, but she was just sleeping so deep. She
mm,
didn't hear when I was screaming. She didn't hear anything that was happening,
mm.
you know. So they went round the house, knocking on all the windows and all the doors, just to see if there's somebody at home.
Yeah,
Because they saw blood stains on her, so they suspected something must have been wrong. you
yeah,
know. And when they eventually came towards my grandma's window, thank God for things like, my grandma used to snore so badly, so
yeah.
loudly, and it used to annoy all of us in the house. But that day was my saving grace,
Wow.
because had they not heard her snore, they
Mm,
would have thought nobody was at home and they would have left.
yeah,
So, but when they heard her snoring, they persisted at her window until she woke up.
yeah,
And then when she woke up, she was how do I put it now? She couldn't even reconcile everything that was happening.
yeah.
Why are there so many people at her window? And then they told her to come towards the door. And then she went to the door, and when she opened it, there was this, crowd, a small
Mm,
crowd. Like, what's going on? Where is everybody? Where is, they mentioned her name,
yeah.
and my grandma said she's inside. And okay, call her out. And she called out. There was no response. So my grandma said, okay, maybe she's gone to the market or somewhere. And then they said, no. Okay, who else is at home? And she said, Mary.
Mm,
And she called out my name. I could hear her, but again, I was dying, so I couldn't answer. But after a while, when she kept calling out my name, and she had already told them that, okay, maybe I had gone with my aunt to the market, but they
yes,
said no, because of course they didn't see anybody with her. So
yes.
they said no, that Mary must be inside. At this time, I had to muster out the strength I had to answer. And then when I answered, my grandma was furious, because I come from a very Christian home where, you don't say, you're not trained to be negative. You
Yeah,
don't confess negativity and everything. So when I told my grandma that, when she told me to come out of the room, and I told her that I couldn't see, she was, she started raining all the Christian principles on me. How would you say such a thing? How
yeah.
kind of talk is that? And I told her I meant it. I couldn't see, and that my aunt had plucked out my eyes. And people told her to just go in and check. And then she eventually came in and saw me in my pool of blood. Of course, she fainted.
Mm,
They were able to resuscitate her.
mm. Wow. Are you still there? Hello, Mary. Oh dear. Oh, Mary, are you there? Oh, we're not more
And
hearing you, please.
they
Uh,
picked me. And
okay.
hello,
Oh,
hello,
I lost you for
hello.
some. I
Yeah.
lost you for 1 minute or so.
Okay. So when they came into the room and took me to the hospital, the
Yeah,
closest hospital to us was Ikeja General Hospital.
yeah,
And in all that hurly-burly, it wasn't possible for my grandma to begin to calculate, to take this and take that. In fact, she was in one piece, her 90, and that was how we all went to the hospital. She
mm,
did not take any money with her. The only thing that was with her was the house keys. And we left for the hospital. When we got to the hospital, last I checked, it was 7:30 in the morning,
mm,
before my eyes were gushed out.
mm,
So when we got to the hospital, the doctor said they were not going to attend to me because they needed a police report and a lawyer's report, and all of those documents that we
Yeah.
usually request. Exactly. And my grandma was illiterate, so she couldn't provide these things.
Mm,
And we kept pleading. My grandma kept pleading that, it wasn't in the GSM days. It was later that year that GSM came out.
mm,
So they couldn't call my mother from work. And although my mother, had her office number written, in all that confusion, my grandma couldn't take anything.
mm,
So the only option was to send somebody to the island to get my mother. And so my grandma said, okay, let them start attending to me while they arrange for somebody to get my mother to process all of the documents. But the doctors, of course, refused and
yeah.
said we're not going to do anything
Mm,
except those documents were produced. And so I was there bleeding. Other patients were there. I remember they were begging that, don't allow this girl to die. Just attend to her. And then um, when her mother comes, everything will be settled. But the doctors turned deaf ears to everybody's pleas. And eventually, somebody was sent to Lagos to get my mother. My
yeah.
mother, in all the Lagos traffic and everything, if you're familiar with Lagos terrain,
Yeah.
arrived at the hospital at about 4 or 4:30 p.m.
Wow.
At that time, was both
The
eyes had been
damage,
contaminated,
how the damage had been
had
done.
bled out almost, yes, had bled out almost every pint of blood in my in my body. It's a miracle, that I survived it. And I don't even take it for jokes. It's a miracle really that I survived bleeding profusely from both eyes,
Wow.
for that long. And eventually I was admitted at about 4:30 p.m. when my mother arrived. And the next day they took me for my first surgery. And when we got there, the doctors, after the surgery, the doctors told my mother that, the eyes had been contaminated, infections here and there, blah, blah, blah. And, they couldn't salvage the right eye. So they had to cut it off totally.
Mm,
So they cut off the right eye and they said, okay, maybe we could manage the left eye. And I was, on this very heavy bandage for quite a while. And then some weeks later, the doctor said I wasn't responding to treatments. And when they took me for another surgery, they ran some tests and then they said they believed it was the left eye that was deteriorating.
mm.
And so it was affecting my health. And so they gave my mother a very tough option of leaving the left eye, and then eventually it could affect my brain. I could be deaf and dumb. And all, it was just a very terrible situation. And
Wow.
so my mother said, okay, I should take it out. And they took it out on May 4th. And that was it. It was a new life for me.
Wow, Mary. I don't. To be frank with you, I don't like listening to this story in any form, in any way. But you see, this story really changed my own life because
Yes.
okay. Now, I'm going to open the line for people to ask you questions. I'm going to open the line for
Okay.
people to ask you questions. Um,
Yes, sir.
but I wouldn't want the question to be on the intricacies of the health. I want it to be on the lessons. But before then, I want you to just tell us. Now, you read law just to make sure you avenge this thing. And also,
Hello.
are you hearing me?
Okay.
Are you still hearing me? Mary, are you hearing me?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, I'm saying,
Yes, sir.
yes, I'm saying you read law to avenge, you know.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to that part of the story. So as life continued, I had to be enrolled in a new school, at Kelly School for the Blind, precisely. And you know, as a child, I didn't quite understand the impact of all that had happened.
Yeah.
So I thought every child would go through it or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but it didn't really register with me that it was this grave,
Mm,
the damage that had happened.
Yeah.
And then as I advanced and went into secondary school, and secondary school wasn't a special school like, my elementary school, the one I went to after the incident. In
Yeah.
secondary school, we were never more than four at a time that were visually impaired.
Yeah.
And in my set, in fact, we were just two, myself and someone else.
Mm.
So it was a new world for me altogether. And I had to now start coping with people who were not, who didn't have the same challenge that I had.
Yeah.
And, a lot of resentment started coming in. That was when, at that age as a teenager, little things are significant to you.
Yeah.
I mean, things as little as a pimple,
Mm.
a scar, you just want to look really clean,
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah.
So at that point it began to register with me, sadly, that, man,
I
I
mean,
mean, this is it, this
I
is
mean,
what has happened.
for something huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I became
And
really bitter.
and then a lot of people at teenagehood would have told you how beautiful you are, and when they tell you how
Oh,
beautiful you are, how does it make you feel when you've not been able to actually relate with that beauty?
okay. Before then, as a child, I knew I was a beautiful child.
Okay.
When I could see, I
Yeah.
saw myself, and then, I had a lot of compliments here and there. So
Yeah.
I knew I was a beautiful child.
Yeah.
But when the reality of this challenge started dawning on me,
Yeah.
and people would still say, compliment me and tell me I'm beautiful, I couldn't trust those words anymore,
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure, I don't know, maybe it must have changed my
The
face. I don't know what I
volume,
was thinking.
the degree,
I,
the level.
yeah, so I just couldn't really trust what people were telling me at that time.
Mm.
It was a journey for me to realize that, in spite of what has happened, you're still beautiful, Mary.
Yeah.
It was a journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
So
now,
at
now,
that time,
now,
uh,
but how bitter did you feel towards
oh,
whoever was responsible?
oh Lord, sir, I felt extremely bitter.
Mm.
You know, I, in fact, that was when I started calling, asking my mom, questions that I didn't ask
Mm.
when the incident happened. I started asking, and some people felt, I mean, is it now that you'll be asking these questions? But they didn't
Yeah.
understand that it was then that the impact started dawning on me. So I
Yeah.
was asking, what happened to her? The doctor said nothing can be done. I just wanted to know exactly what I
Mm.
was in for. And then when they told me, she was released, I remember she was released, but I mean, at that time I said, but why would they release her?
Wow.
So I was motivated to study law. I said, no, I'm going to revisit this case, and she must go down for this. It's
Wow.
either they took out her eyes, or they locked her up in jail,
Mm.
or I don't know, but I just needed to get even so she could
Yeah.
feel the pain that I was feeling. And so I went in for law. When I got into Babcock University, I remember at first they didn't give me law. They were offering me, I think, mass communications or something.
Mm.
And I insisted. I said, no, I wanted law. Nobody knew why I wanted law. But I think my mother had a clue, because she was trying to discourage me. And then when she said, okay, what aspect of law do you want to study? And I said, criminal law. My mother said, no way. Kind of just added it together. I'm like, no way. you know no, she was trying to discourage me. There's no money there. I'm like, in my mind, I knew where I wanted to study criminal law.
Yeah. Wow.
And it had nothing to do with money. It
Yeah.
was just a revenge mission for me.
You want to
And
find.
so I started, exactly. And then I got to 300 level, and I realized in criminal law in 300 level that insanity indeed was a defense. And that was what her defense counsel had put up in court,
Yeah.
that, she was insane at the time of the offense. So,
Yeah.
I mean, she was, of course, discharged and acquitted, and that was the end. So at that point, I was devastated. I'm like, I mean, I went through all this rigor, to revenge, and then I just find out that nothing can be done about it. So
Legally,
I felt like I was in this alone.
I mean, legally speaking,
Are
nothing
you
can be
there?
done. Yes.
Yes, legally speaking, nothing could be done about it. I mean, justice couldn't be served,
Mm.
as far as I was concerned. So, I mean, my bitterness was raised to power like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know,
Yeah.
100 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah. So it was really sad. And then that was when God began to take me through the process of forgiveness.
Mm. So how
Yeah.
easy was it for you to start forgiving, and then when you did forgive, how did it heal you, or what really happened in terms of new lease of life, or what before people start asking you question, and before we start looking at the application of forgiveness in this regard, what do you think changed that made you forgive? But above all, after you forgave, what really happened to you now, and how can you define forgiveness and holding forgiveness back?
Okay. Okay. When it happened,
Yeah,
like I said, I didn't know the impact.
yeah.
So as I grew into the full impact of what had happened.
Mm,
And so when I realized that I couldn't do anything legally, I became very resentful. In fact, I mean, bitterness for me was so terrible. It affected everybody around me. I was a sweet natured girl when I got into the university and everything, while I was still nurturing my revenge mission,
yeah.
secretly. But at this time when, everything was clear, it was like all the negativity inside of me just burst. I
Mm,
became so bitter. Nobody wanted to associate with me, but they didn't know what was going on. I just had a cause to be quarrelsome with everybody. I had a reason to be angry with everybody for the tiniest reason you can imagine. It was that bad. And it affected my studies. I started going down. When I got into the Department of Law, I got in on the first class.
wow.
But from 300 level, in my 300 level, after this experience, you won't believe I went down straight to a 2-2.
Wow.
It was that bad.
Wow.
It was that bad. My lecturers couldn't understand what was going on. They contacted my mom,
So that's the
said,
power
okay,
that's the power of bitterness.
that's the power of
It
bitterness.
can
Exactly.
destroy you, destroy your progress,
Destroy
destroy
you.
everything about you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Can you
Because
imagine?
I spent so
Can
much
you,
energy
can you imagine?
calculating.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
imagine how bitterness took away your first class? At that point.
exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And then, they contacted my mom. They're like, we don't know what's happening, but Mary's just withdrawn in class.
Mm,
And my mom would be asking me what's going on. I couldn't answer. How do I begin to explain that after many years, this is what I was planning to do?
mm.
So everything was just locked up inside of me. And one day I was just in my room in the hostel, and this bitterness and heaviness, I mean, it was so real, it was so practical that I literally could feel heaviness
Mm.
on me. It was that bad. There was just this clouds hanging over me
Wow.
that wouldn't let me do anything, that wouldn't let me reach out, that wouldn't let me achieve what I was going to achieve,
Yeah.
that was chasing good friends away from me. So that day, I was just lying in bed and I was crying bitterly. I was like, God, what is going on? What is going on with me? And for the first time, I heard it in my heart, in my spirit, that I'm experiencing everything that I was experiencing because I had not forgiven.
Wow.
And, you know, I was like, forgiven, like
Mm.
forgiven.
Like, are you
And,
serious?
are you serious?
I
I'm
should
sure I
forgive.
must have asked God, if they
I
had plucked out your eyes, would you forgive?
Yes. God, if I plug out
you
your
know,
eye, you feel forgive.
Yeah, would you forgive?
You.
Because it's a different thing when someone does something to
Yes.
you
I
that
actually forgive.
exactly that you can kind of recover from. But
Yeah.
when the damage has some sort of permanence on
Permanent.
you, it's very
Irreparable.
difficult to forgive.
Ah,
Yes, very difficult to forgive. So
mm,
I went through it, and then I don't know how I got on my knees that day, and I cried out my heart, and I told God that I wanted to let this go, and that it should help me. And
wow.
He did help me. And I was getting up from my knees. I literally felt the load lifted off my shoulders. I
Yeah.
was light. I was refreshed. I was renewed.
Mm,
And although I had exonerated my aunt
mm.
many years before, that day I felt like I was exonerating myself.
Wow. Wow.
Yes,
Wow. Wow.
yes,
That's deep. Wow.
yes. And it became a new life for me.
A
Now,
new
this
life.
this person in question,
Yeah.
she was still very aggressive. She
Mm.
didn't show any sense of remorse.
Oh,
I didn't feel any sense of remorse.
yeah.
Matter of fact, I cannot remember her apologizing even now.
Wow.
But yes, maybe she did when I was young. But I mean, if you apologize to a child when the child was young,
Yeah.
as the child grows and begin to realize the impact of stuff, I
Mm.
feel like maybe you should tender another apology
100%.
now that the person properly understands that this is what has happened. So I
100%.
didn't get any of that. So, when I got back home on holiday, I was, trying hard. She would still yell at me. She would still relate with me like nothing had happened. Shout at I felt like, if anybody would be shouting at me, not her, she
You.
should be pampering me.
You
I
are the person
expected
who caused this. Why should you shout at
exactly.
me?
Exactly. I mean, even if I was wrong, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be wrong in your sight.
Yeah.
That was how I felt. But then she continued like nothing had happened. So
Mm.
it was very hard. Many times I would get in my room, I would cry, and then I was still dealing with fear
Mm.
because every time she was around, I couldn't bear to stay alone with her.
Yeah.
Every time I was alone in my room, I'd just be scared. So I was dealing with so many things,
Yeah.
so many things. But I mean, it was a long process, but I realized eventually that it was worth every second of that process
Wow.
because I'm a better person for it now. And
Wonderful.
the auntie in question, I made it a point of duty to contribute because, of course, when the incident happened, she was fired. Nobody would employ her. It was all over the media at the
Yeah.
time. So still struggles with getting settled and stable in life.
Mm.
So I just made a point of contact that I just give you a little support that I can. So I try to do something from my salary every month.
And
And for me, I do not believe that you have completely forgiven. You do
yeah.
not implement your forgiveness. And
Wow.
that's my only way of implementing the forgiveness.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for please. Thank you for coming on this. So we as we start working on a rounding of so that we don't take you deep into the night. Let me find out if anybody has a question for you. I can see my friends, Jen Vuli, Mariam Bilal. I can see Techno Camon and Techno Bob too. Okay, so if you have any question, please kindly, unmute yourself. Yeah, kindly unmute yourself and then ask your question. Um, yeah, you have a question? Can you unmute yourself? Zainab, Ubili, Tornado, Lushide. A lot of people here. Do you have any question? You can raise your hands. If you can't, or you can tell me to unmute you. You can say unmute me, so I can unmute you. Okay.
Sure.
Zainab is asking. Okay, Zainab, go ahead. Hajia, can you go ahead? Elijah Zinab, can you go ahead, please?
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Do you have a question or a contribution, something, you know?
She's so beautiful, my son Hanif, and he has been asking questions even before I unmuted myself, and he wants to ask something. All the questions he has been asking me, I said, okay, he can talk, but I just want to say that you are so beautiful. You have really given some of us courage tonight that with your determination and all that, you can achieve all you want to achieve. Thank you so much. And in short, it's really touching. Hold
Thank
on
you.
for
Thank
Hanif.
you.
Okay, Hanif. Hanif, my friend.
Good
Thank you,
evening,
ma'am.
doctor.
Good evening, Hanif.
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening, Hanif. How are you? Go ahead.
Hello, good evening, sir.
I'm hearing you.
Fine.
Go ahead.
How to answer, is the person related to her?
Mary, go ahead. Mary, did you hear her?
Is she related to her?
Mary, answer.
Is she related to her?
Barrister Mary, can you answer him?
I can't hear. I only heard, is she related? That's all.
He is asking.
Is he related to her?
He's asking, is the person related to you?
Oh my God, the network.
My friend Hanif is asking,
Is the person?
is the person related to you?
Oh yes, the person is my mother's biological sister. So she's my aunt, like my aunt, not you know, the general term we qualify everybody who is older in Nigeria, but I mean my biological aunt.
So Hanif,
Why did she not go to jail?
Well, because you know, like I said, she pleaded insanity, and insanity is a defense in law, and so you know she was discharged.
so Hanif, the
Yes, sir.
person is her aunt, and she was mentally unstable, meaning that she wasn't all right in her mind, and because of that, the courts could not convict her or imprison her. So, and that's why she's working out on the she's not in jail now. But we've gone beyond that, Hanif, and I know you are, I think, about 7 or 10 or 11 years old or 12, and the point is that she's teaching us how to forgive. Yes, how we can forgive people who did something against us. That's what she's teaching us. Do you have any other question, Hanif?
Sorry, man.
Oh, thank you.
No. Sorry, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh dear. Okay. So any other question, please? I see my friend Marielle Bela, Esther Favor. Any contribution? Any question before she tells us her last words? But also, what you've learned this evening, how did it touch you? Can we take your feedback, Shade and Obile, all of you, very quickly? I'm talking to those who are on those who are on Zoom, because a lot of people on Facebook and WhatsApp. Sorry, Facebook and on Instagram and all those. But those who are on Zoom, you can speak. Can I take your feedback? How is the story touched you? What are some of the lessons you've learned? Before now, she gives us her final words. But above all, if you have any question, you can also ask very quickly. Then if you also want to write the question down on the chat box, then we can go ahead. So shall I go ahead?
Good evening, Mary.
Good evening.
I'm so blessed by it. So I'm so blessed by it because I mean that's forgiveness on another level.
Yeah.
That is forgiveness and a heart. I just
Thank
wonder
you,
because
ma'am.
you seem to be focused on only your aunt. For me, I'm looking at the doctors also.
Yeah,
I'm
you are
looking
very right. I had to forgive the
at,
doctors too.
mm,
Mm.
and then
You
I'm
know,
just
I
thinking,
had to forgive.
how does
You
it
wouldn't
make you
believe it,
feel
but
when you
I
see
also
them?
had to
Mm,
release. Okay.
go on.
Go ahead.
Okay, I said you wouldn't believe it, but I also had to release my mother because I didn't know the part
Mm,
of the story where she said she had a nudge in her spirit to take me, and even as she went,
Yeah.
it kept telling her to go back and pick me. So
Wow.
when I grew and I remember that part of the story, it also made me very angry.
Mm.
So I also
mm,
I told her at the point I was releasing, I told her, I said, see, this thing you said has been bothering me for this many years, but
Mm.
I'm releasing it today.
Wow.
mm. And
Yes.
I agree totally when you say that bitterness is like an entity itself.
Mm.
Is like
Yes.
a spirit, a being. I
Mm.
agree totally. Because I remember one time I
Yes.
was in a train and a madman came into the train and sat beside me.
Mm.
Not your regular black madman. This was in London and he was sitting right beside me in the train and you could see that it wasn't okay.
Mm.
And as we were going on, I was just on my
Mm.
mind saying, Lord, at what point did I get to sit beside this kind of person? Or why did he come beside me? And then he suddenly just shouted, leave me alone. Leave me alone. That's how you told me to do so and so. And I didn't, and you brought me into a mess. And he began to recount. And at that point, I could relate. I could now see that, okay, these things, these emotions are actually spirits,
Yeah.
beings
Yeah.
Yeah,
of people's minds
you're
and
right.
spirits. So when
Mm.
you say that something was weighing you down, for me, I was just like, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree because that was something I saw one on one, and I saw that this guy was communicating with
Mm.
people, with
Mm.
spirits.
Yeah.
He was talking to them like
Yeah,
they were sitting beside him, and then I could really see
right.
that okay, insanity is actually a spirit. I
Wow.
just
Right.
I'm so bad at the story. I'm not sure you've been able to tell us the full forgiveness and healing process because
Yeah.
you said you came out of it maybe because there's no time. But
Yeah.
I imagine that one of these days you get a
Yeah.
chance to I would like to hear it.
We're gonna bring her.
I've had to forgive people, but mine is nothing compared to yours.
Mm. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very much.
so
Thank
Bless
Thank
you,
you.
bless you.
let's take
Thank you, ma'am.
you guys are going to hang out because Mary is going to give us her number because a lot of us have some things we need to discuss further with her. She's um, she's a lawyer, but she's a therapist of sorts. She helps people heal from very serious emotional issues, and she's been able to drag a lot of people out from the demon and devil and burden of unforgiveness and sometimes you know she's talking about forgiving people. What of yourself? Sometimes you do things that you feel I can't forgive myself and all those. Yeah, so she helps people also. You want a little more, she's going to give us her a number. Let's go. Ahajia, please. Maria, can you kindly give us your this thing. Hajia Mariam is a mentor, and she's helped a lot of women to get empowered. So Hajia, can you go ahead? Mariam. Hello, Mariam, can you go ahead? Well, I'm not hearing you. I wouldn't know if it's only me that is not hearing.
No, I can hear her too.
Oh dear.
Can you hear me, doctor?
Yes, Hajia, we're hearing you now.
Okay. I want to say to us that you're really cute. You're cute,
Thank you
and
so much.
your story, it's a motivation.
Mm,
Thank you,
Like
ma'am.
after hearing, it's making me take a step back
mm,
and visualize some things in my life currently. Seriously. I commend you. I commend your effort. Seriously, it's not easy to be able to forgive someone who have done this kind of a thing to one's life.
Yeah.
But seriously, it has really motivated me this night. That's just it. It's the best thing I'm listening to this February. Seriously.
Wow.
So I want to commend you for that. And I'm saying it again, you're very cute. You're so cute.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
ma'am.
doctor,
Thank
for
you.
this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate.
Thank you. Okay. Is there another person before we allow Mary to just give us some other nuggets and then we round up? Mary, generally, right now, can you just give us some application? You talked about your first class had a hit when the bitterness came.
Yes.
We most times when you flutter in the first year, second year or so, your third year to recover is always very difficult. Probably
Yes.
have robbed you of your first class. The
Yes.
next one is you say you started feeling light when you forgave, and now can you help us make a sense of the application in marriages, in business, and just in 5 minutes or so? Can you pull all of them together for us, please?
Okay. First of all, thankfully, I was able to get on a second class upper. I
Okay.
graduated with a 2-1, but I mean, it could have been a first class
Wonderful.
if I had forgiven early enough.
Wow.
So I tell people, unforgiveness. It was Nelson Mandela who said, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting another person to die.
Please, can you say
When
that
you
again? Can you say that again? Unforgiveness is drinking poison and
and
expecting another
expecting
person
someone else to
to
die.
die. Wow. Wow. Please,
Yes.
just give me a second. Please, can everybody in this platform, whether you are online or rather whether you're on Facebook or wherever, can you use the chat box and write for me what Mary said? Mary, can you repeat it so that we can write it on the chat box, please? Yes, or on the comment box.
Unforgiveness. I said that unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die.
Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. Unforgiveness
Exactly.
is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. He said Mary, it was said by
Nelson Mandela.
Mandela. Please, I want you to use the chat box, write it down, just for it to enter your mind and your spirit. Please just do that for me right now. The comment box, if you are watching from Facebook or you're watching from what do you call it, Instagram or any other media, or you are here on Zoom. Unforgiveness. Thank you, Maria. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting another person to die. What powerful. Mary, can you go ahead, please?
Yes, sir. So I tell people that, and I say, see, forgiveness cuts across all sectors of life. It's not just spiritual.
Yeah.
It's psychological. It's social. It's it can be applied in every way. Because when you do not forgive somebody, you hold yourself back. All the negativity, all the energy that you're using to put negativity together. And scientists have discovered that it takes you double the amount of energy you need to do something positive to do something negative. So then you apply double efforts, double energy, just because you have decided to keep negativity. You have decided not to release negativity inside of you. And it stinks. It's a matter of time. It stinks. It begins to stink. And when it stinks, everybody around you can smell it.
Yeah.
And that's what is happening in our world today. Everybody is vengeful. Everybody wants to revenge. And it cuts across even countries. This country does this, and then years after, another country is revenging what has happened. It even, I mean, amongst ethnic groups, this group did something, and then another group is revenging many years after. I mean, all this could have been avoided if we prioritize the peace of our minds. I believe that if you decide not to forgive, it's because you do not respect yourself.
Wow.
That's my personal belief.
Please say it again.
Respect yourself
Please say
and
it again.
prioritize your peace.
You say,
I said I believe that if you do not forgive,
yeah.
you do not respect yourself.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
If you do not forgive, you do not have
You
respect
do not
for yourself.
respect yourself. Exactly.
Please, can you
I
explain
read
it
in
a little?
Sir?
Can you explain it that a little more?
All right. I read it in a book that the word respect comes from two words, re and spect. Spect as in spectator. Spect as in to look, spectate, to look.
Yes.
So then you look at yourself again and again with contempt, with disdain. And that's why you cannot progress. But when you decide to change the view and perspective and the lenses through which you begin to see yourself, you will know that you are better than where you are. You will know that you have more potentials that could be tapped if you decide to prioritize your peace of mind.
Wow.
For me, what's important is the state of your mind. If your mind, if there's no peace in your mind and your mind is not stable, tell me, how do you want to do any other thing in life when your mind is the focal point of every idea and concept and innovation, creativity? Everything starts from your mind.
Yeah.
And then when your mind is at war, when your mind is beclouded by so much negativity, I mean, it's going to be choking every idea and concept that is coming to you.
Wow.
That's exactly what I went through for all those years. Sometimes I look back at it, I'm like, see opportunities that I would have grabbed. If not that I was just already imagining in my head how I would stand in court and sentence advocate for my auntie to be sentenced to death or life imprisonment or something. That was what I kept seeing, you know, rather than for me to see the opportunities that were before me. I kept expanding negativity, negative thoughts. There was no positivity in me. And everything in life needs a bit of positivity to grow. Positivity is like the fulcrum of development in our personal lives, in our relationships, and even in the society. Where there is no positivity, it is difficult for transformation to take place.
Wow. Mary, thank you so very much. In fact, when you were talking, what I saw in my mind's eye is that, you know, that and thank you, Billy. Thank you, Billy York, for the great job you are doing on Facebook. They are trying to, you know, put all the things she said into words. But when you were talking, Mary, what I saw is like the human mind being like a garden. And if you have so much bitterness inside of your heart, you will have so much, you know, what do we call it, tars. You have so much weed.
Exactly.
You have so much weed.
They'll be choking your seed, choking your weed.
Everything you're planting there.
Exactly.
Well, Mary, thank you so very much for making me to come to this particular consciousness that if I don't forgive, I am sowing so much stars and so much, you know, pistols on the land, on the fertility of the land of my heart. And as far as those are there, the things that are supposed to get the fertile nutrients that are consumed by these thistles and thorns are not going to do well. So the earlier I forgive, the better I do myself a favor. Mary, we can appreciate you enough. Please, can we have your social media handles and if any, and then your phone number? First, let's start with your phone number. Billy, you help me write the phone number down, and then somebody here, maybe Hajia or somebody, help me write it on the what do you call it, on the on the Zoom platform. So Mary, can you give us your number and the best time those who want to talk with you on some of their
Okay.
life issues can talk with you, time and the number, and then your social media handles.
All right, sir. My phone number is 080
080
64.
64
Yes, sir. 64
yes,
79
79
69. Yeah,
64
6944.
6944. So say it again.
080
Okay, 080
64
64. Somebody help me write it down. 080 64
79
79
69
69
44.
double four. For the last time, kindly help us say it again. It said is 080
Yeah, 64
64
79
what? 64 what?
79.
79
Yeah, 6944.
6944. Okay. Okay, please somebody help us write it in all the media. But you see, what is the best time for those who want to talk with you about their personal issues? What's the best time? Because you see this thing we talk about, some people had helped their boyfriends become rich and then they dumped them. Some people had trained people in university and they didn't go themselves and they dumped them. Some people had, you know, sacrificed everything and those people betrayed them. And, you know, and these people live in so much bitterness and nothing is happening in their lives or and other areas. So somebody may want to talk, you know, one of my friend Blessing is saying, cute voice you've got, Mary. I do wish, I want you guys to go to scbsedu.org/ success algorithm TV. Whenever you see this, you would have seen that. I want you to go there and register for the newsletter because we're going to send this thing to you so you can listen over and over and share with your friends and all that. So if we don't have your details, go to that place, scbsedu.org/ success algorithm TV, or wherever you saw this advert, go there, you will see the website, go there and join the newsletter so that we can send you a replay of this. And I'll bet you this is going to be regular. This is going to be regular. We're going to bring, you know, all kinds of people from business to health to fitness to all kinds to use. Some weeks we're going to the same link if you're on Zoom, the same link if you're on Facebook. We're going to come every week. Sometimes we're going to do Mondays and Thursdays. Sometimes it's going to be only on Mondays, but the same link, 7:30. Just, you don't need to be told. Just 7:30. Just log in, and you are going to be here with one of the best guests and one of the best things you can ask. Mary, I was talking about timing. What time? I know you work and you do quite a lot, mentorship, a lot of humanitarian services with your legal work and your HR work in your company. So what time is the best time they can talk with you?
Okay, I would prefer that you know, you send me a text first or a WhatsApp message,
Wonderful.
and then I'll give you a time.
Wonderful.
I prefer that, yeah.
Okay.
Because I can't fix and say, oh, afternoons
I can
or
understand.
mornings, or yeah, it's just gonna depend on how the day goes.
Wonderful. And this number 0806 479 6944 is your WhatsApp number too.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you. I didn't say my YouTube channel. Can I say that?
Oh yeah. Go ahead, honey. Go ahead, please.
Okay. My YouTube channel is Simply Gracie.
What?
Simply Gracie. That's SIMPLY GRACEY.
Okay, Simply Gracie.
Simply.
Gracie.
Yes, sir.
SIMPLY
Yes, sir.
GRACEY.
GRACEY. Yes, sir.
Okay, Grace with a Y. Simply Gracie. So Grace with a Y.
Exactly.
Okay. So, guys, please
Exactly.
go to our YouTube and then make sure you connect with her. Thank you, guys. God bless you. If you know anybody,
Thank you
um,
so much, Doctor.
thank
Doctor,
you.
I appreciate this platform. I don't take it for granted at all. Thank you so much for having me
You know,
here.
people want you to come more often, so we're gonna bring you more often. But
That's fine.
yeah, starting from you and any other person here, if you know anybody whose story you want me to feature, you want us to feature, thank you. No, and Billy York, the grace is Gracey. Gracie,
Yes, sir.
Simply. Please, Billy York, can you correct that? Okay. So if you know anybody you want us to feature here, please kindly let us know. And we're going to feature the person from business to everything. Dickin, okay, do you want to say something? You muted yourself.
Yes, I just want to thank Mary
Yeah.
for the opportunity. And thank you, Doctor, for giving us this opportunity to hear Mary's story. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. I
Thank you,
love
ma. Thank you, ma. I love you too.
Thank you, Dickin. Thank you so much, man.
Hello.
Hello, Dickin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm still here.
Okay, have you finished what you wanted to say?
Yes, just wanted to thank her. Thank you for opportunity of featuring her. For other people to hear her story, which will change somebody's mind.
Thank you, Dickin. Thank you so very much, ma'am. God bless you. Okay, so guys, so thank you guys for coming. Till this Thursday or next week, okay. Auntie Shada, you want to say something?
I also wanted to say that, Mary, you are so pretty. You better believe it. In
Thank
case you didn't believe
you.
Mary,
it, just
Thank
saying it. That's what my husband was saying, that she's so pretty.
Mary, I
So
wish
if a man is saying that, be sure that
the husband
you are
is saying,
definitely be
Thank you so much, ma'am.
and he's a pastor. You know, pastors are not supposed to see beautiful people, but this pastor is still a beautiful woman. So you can imagine.
How old are you, Mary? How old are you, Mary? How
I'm
old are you?
27.
Wow, those words are so deep for your age. My goodness, God bless you.
Yeah, sometimes experiences actually mature you faster than your age.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Thank you, guys. God bless you. So if you've not joined the newsletter, please join so that whenever we have a guest, you are able to join. And if you want to you have a story. I just provided this network so that we can tell people's story. So you have a story you want to tell. Yes, whether it's business or whatever, just shoot me an email or WhatsApp me, and then I'm able to feature those stories. Thank you, guys. God bless you. I don't take it for granted that you were here. Remember, blessed, stay celebrated always. Mary, we love you. You are so pretty. You are so beautiful.
Love you too.
The Lord
Love
is
you
your
too.
side. Have a